What's up you guys, it's Henry here again from Ricoma. With the new release of our vinyl cutters and plotters, I've been getting a lot of questions recently from people asking how these vinyl cutters compare with our Luminaris 200 white toner transfer printer. Since both of these products fall under the heat transfer category, people can easily get confused thinking that they're the same thing, when in fact they're two separate processes and have many differences. If you don't know what heat transfer is, don't worry. Watch the entire video and you'll find out exactly how these two processes are done and what's the similarities and differences between them. Mind you, both of these products and processes are great options to either start or scale your custom apparel business. The ultimate decision, as always, comes down to what your needs are and your specific circumstance. Alright guys, before we get started, if you are new to this channel, my name is Henry, I'm the CEO of Ricoma, and this channel is dedicated to helping you find success in the custom apparel business. We provide a lot of tips, tutorials, as well as business-related content to help you start and scale your custom apparel business. Make sure to smash that like button if you enjoy videos like this so that it can get out to more people, as well as subscribe to our channel to make sure that you keep up to date as soon as new videos come out. Alright, with that said, let's jump into the video. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with what heat transfer process is like, in today's video, we're going to be breaking down heat transfer vinyl and white toner transfer printing, which both fall under the heat transfer printing category. So first off, what is heat transfer vinyl, or HTV for short? Heat transfer vinyl is a decorating process in which you are cutting out a design using a vinyl cutter or plotter and then transferring that design onto a substrate such as a piece of garment by using a heat press and transfer paper. Sometimes people also use transfer tape to work in conjunction with the heat press so that you can transfer that piece of vinyl onto a substrate. While a vinyl cutter uses a knife to cut the vinyl, a vinyl plotter uses a pen to draw out the design that's sent to the machine. So you can do heat transfer vinyl with either of the two packages that we have here at Ricoma, either with the Craft Mini, which is 13 inches, or behind me, the larger 25-inch vinyl cutter to do larger projects. Both of these products actually have all-inclusive packages that comes with everything you need to get you started using heat transfer vinyl. And if you're interested in any of these products, I put them down in the links below so you can check them out there. So next, I'll kind of give a quick overview of the heat transfer vinyl process, but if you're interested in more in-depth tutorials of the process using our vinyl cutters here, make sure to check out those videos in the cards above or in the links below. So the first step in the heat transfer vinyl process is to upload and edit your designs in a piece of software that comes along with your vinyl cutting machine. In our case, that's the SignMaster Craft software that comes included in all of our vinyl cutters packages. Then, after you have your design all figured out, you send the design to the machine and you load the vinyl sheet into the machine and position it. Then you simply press start and the vinyl cutter will automatically cut out the contour of the design. After the vinyl sheet has been cut, you then have to go through a weeding process that's very specific to heat transfer vinyl, and then you weed out the excess vinyl that's not needed. And then finally, you use a heat press to transfer that design onto your substrate. And by the way, even the heat presses are included in our vinyl cutter packages so that you have literally everything you need to complete the entire process. And if you're interested to get a new heat press to complement the existing equipment in your shop, you can also check out our line of heat presses at shop.ricoma.com. I put it in the cards above and in the link below. We often have great deals going on these heat presses and free shipping. So now that you know what heat transfer vinyl is, let's talk about two-step heat transfer using white toner transfer printing. The two-step heat transfer printing method using white toner transfer printers is similar to heat transfer vinyl, but instead of printing and cutting on vinyl, you're actually printing a design onto a sheet of transfer paper. As the name implies, this process takes two steps to get a final transfer sheet so that you can transfer that design onto your substrate. As I go through the overview of the two-step heat transfer process, you'll see exactly what I mean by those two separate steps. So the very first step in this white toner transfer printing process is to get your design into what's called a RIP software so that you can transfer that design into the machine. In our case, for the Luminaris 200 white toner transfer printer package, we actually include LumenRip, which is a RIP software that works in conjunction with our product so that you can get the right designs into the machine. Once you have set up your correct settings for the design and have sent the order to the machine will simply print out that design onto a sheet of transfer paper. This is actually the first step in that two-step heat transfer process. Typically, this transfer paper is also referred to as the A paper. Next, you marry an adhesive sheet of paper to the transfer paper you just printed the design on to create your final transfer sheet. The adhesive paper is also commonly referred to as the B paper. This is also the second step in this two-step heat transfer process. Once you have the final transfer sheet, the rest should sound very familiar in that you use a heat press to then transfer the final transfer sheet with the design on it onto your substrate. If you're interested in more in-depth tutorials on how this process works, especially using our Luminaris 200 white toner transfer printer that you see here, you can check out those videos in the cards above and in the links below. We have plenty of videos on our channel showcasing this process of doing different projects using this printer, and it's great to see the results. As a side note, one common question that I get about white toner transfer printers like the Luminaris 200 is, can we do the same thing with a regular printer? The short answer is no, for two simple reasons. One is the white toner transfer printer can actually print white versus a regular printer just prints CMYK. Therefore, without white toner, you can't actually print vibrant designs on a dark background because the colors won't show. But if you do have white toner capabilities, you can actually lay down a layer of white toner so that the colors actually show on top of a white background. This gives you more versatility across different substrates like black t-shirts, black hoodies, or even dark colored mugs. Okay, so now that you know the overview of these two different processes, let's kind of dive into a deep comparison between these two processes and see where are their similarities and differences. The first thing that I'll be comparing between these two products is their quality. And by quality, I'll be comparing their feel, durability, and vibrancy. So in terms of feel, both heat transfer vinyl and white toner transfer printing add an additional layer onto your substrate. In the case of heat transfer vinyl, you are adding an additional layer of vinyl onto your substrate, and in the case of white toner transfer printing, you are adding an additional layer of transfer paper. But even though both add an additional layer, the feel of heat transfer vinyl is going to be a little bit rougher than the feel of white toner transfer printing. In fact, I have two mugs in front of me here, and one is done with heat transfer vinyl, and the other is done with white toner transfer printer. So with this mug that's done using heat transfer vinyl, when you run your finger across the actual design, you can feel the texture of the design, especially around the edges and in areas where the excess weeds of the vinyl was taken out. On the flip side, this mug that was done with a two-step heat transfer printing method using this Luminaris 200 white toner transfer printer, even though you can feel a little bit of the heat transfer paper, it's definitely not as textured as heat transfer vinyl. So seeing that heat transfer vinyl has a little bit of a rougher feel and more texture feel versus two-step heat transfer using white toner transfer printing, I would say that white toner transfer printer wins out in this category of feel because it just has a slight better finish. Now, if you want to get rid of this feeling of an additional layer on top of your garment or substrate, then DTG or direct-to-garment printing will probably be the best bet. That is because direct-to-garment printing actually prints directly onto the garment itself, and therefore the ink actually sinks into the fabric and fuses with the fabric. The downside to that is obviously you won't be able to print on things like mugs. You can only print on flat surfaces like t-shirts, hoodies, polos, etc. So as you can see, these different processes all have their pros and cons and nuances, so it's important to consider these things when purchasing your machine. I always say that they're never meant to be replacements of the other. They're more meant to be complementary items to each process so that you can really build out an all-inclusive shop that offers a variety of services to your clients. Next on the list of quality is durability. When done properly, both heat transfer vinyl and two-step heat transfer using white toner transfer printer can both create designs that can last 50 plus washes in the wash cycle, which by the way is typically the lifespan of a t-shirt. Lastly, on vibrancy and color, with heat transfer vinyl, you're really limited to the color of the vinyl rolls you're using. As you can see with this mug in front of me, we're using green vinyl, and therefore your design is only one color. On the other hand, with two-step heat transfer using white toner transfer printer, you can print full color vibrant designs because you're not really limited to the colors you're using since it's done from the printer itself. Therefore, you can see on this mug design that's done using two-step heat transfer, you can see that's a full color designs, and this won't be possible if you're doing it on a vinyl cover. There's simply too many details and too many different shades and colors that are fused with one another, and it'll be impossible to use all those different vinyl sheets to replicate this type of design. So in conclusion, in this category of quality, both can create very durable designs, but if you're looking to create more full color, vibrant designs and have less of that textured feel on your finished product, then white toner transfer printing is what I would recommend. Next, we'll be comparing the variety and versatility of these two products. Let's start off this time with a two-step heat transfer using white toner transfer printers. With this process, you're not really limited to the type of substrates you can transfer onto because the printer really just takes care of printing a design onto a transfer paper, and then you are transferring that design onto different substrates via a heat press. If you have different types of heat presses, such as flat heat presses, mug heat presses, or even plate heat presses, you can then transfer designs onto a variety of substrates, such as t-shirts, caps, mugs, plates, etc. Heat transfer vinyl also works in a similar way. You're not really limited to the surfaces you can transfer onto. You can transfer onto soft surfaces like fabric and garments, or hard surfaces like mugs, plates, etc. using a heat press that can accommodate those type of items. So in terms of variety, both processes are actually quite versatile in terms of transferring onto a variety of substrates. Now, where these two differ in variety comes down to the materials you use to print on. With the white toner transfer printer, you are printing on just transfer paper. On the other hand, with heat transfer vinyl, you can actually change things up by using different types of vinyl, such as the regular heat transfer vinyl, permanent vinyl, calendared vinyl, adhesive vinyl, and the vinyl cutters can even cut cardstock. That type of variety in terms of the materials you can use with the vinyl cutter is definitely something different versus the white toner transfer printer. So even though both processes can transfer onto a variety of substrates and be very, very versatile for your apparel decorating shop, I will give a very slight edge to heat transfer vinyl in this case because of the different types of materials you can use with the vinyl cutters. The third category that we'll be comparing between these two products is quantity. As a business owner, you always want to know how long it will take to do certain items with these two processes, so you can determine how efficient you can be and how much output you can produce. Both of these processes do require a little bit of involvement, especially in the heat transfer part, because you need to use a heat press to then transfer your final sheet onto your substrates. However, I would say that heat transfer vinyl is actually a bit more labor intensive simply because of the weeding process. But if you don't know what weeding is, it's a process that's very specific to heat transfer vinyl in that you'll have to take out or peel off these additional pieces of excess vinyl that you won't be using as part of your design after it's being cut. Weeding designs can sometimes be very time consuming because you need some tweezers or special tools to help you with that weeding process, and at times it could be harder to see where the actual contour is of your design that's cut so that you can actually weed out the excess vinyl. Two-step heat transfer process using the white toner transfer printer involves no weeding at all because you're using the entire design that the printer prints. So if we're thinking about productivity and scaling and quantity, I would say that white toner transfer printer definitely wins out on this one because you're able to do much more designs in a similar amount of time versus heat transfer vinyl. In the time that it'll take you to weed out the excess vinyl in your design, you can probably heat transfer 2 or 3 more shirts using white toner transfer printing. All right, now that we covered the major differences between these two products, let's talk about the cost of each method, which I'm sure you're very interested in. With heat transfer vinyl, the typical vinyl cutter will probably cost around $300 to $1,200. It's a very affordable way to get started with apparel decoration. The transfer paper for this process will probably cost you about 80 cents to $1 per sheet, and vinyl rolls, you can typically buy them for $5 to $12 on Amazon depending on the size of the roll. For a piece of blank garment or blank substrate, it probably costs you about $3 to $4 on average at wholesale prices. So this typically adds up to about $4 to $5 per print, especially because you can use the vinyl roll for a lot of designs. One thing to consider, however, is that because vinyl rolls are only one specific color, you might need to keep a lot of vinyl rolls or buy them to keep them in stock for multicolored designs, or to at least give your customers the option to choose a variety of colors. So even though the per print vinyl cost is very, very minimal, you just have to keep that into consideration because you might need to keep more in inventory. With white toner transfer printers such as the Luminaris 200, it will cost a bit more to get started. For example, printers typically range from about $4,000 to $7,000 to get a white toner transfer printer package. That package obviously includes not only the printer, but the heat press, as well as all the supplies in terms of A and B transfer paper to get you started. Also, if you feel that upfront cost is a little bit too high, we also offer 0% financing options here at Ricoma to help you lower those monthly payments and make it very affordable for you to get started. Again, if you're interested to check out our financing options, make sure to visit our website and fill out a form so that our product specialists can get in touch with you, or contact us so that we can guide you through the right process. In terms of the per print cost on a white toner transfer printer, the transfer paper or the A paper will typically cost about 80 cents to $1 per sheet. Then you have to add on the adhesive paper, because remember, you need to marry the A paper to the B paper to create your final transfer sheet. The B paper or the adhesive paper will typically cost about $1 to $2 per sheet. The toner cost per print is very negligible because toners can last a long time versus ink and can give you a lot more prints, so that's only around 10 cents per print. Finally, the blank garment or substrate, in this case a t-shirt that we're using as an example, will cost you about $3 to $4 at wholesale prices. That adds up to about $5 to $6 per print. So you can see that the startup cost is going to be slightly higher versus heat transfer vinyl, and also the per print cost will be typically about $1 more per print. But the benefit is you don't have to keep a lot of materials in stock because the printer prints full colors. So you just have to transfer your design to the printer and it can print full colors, unlike heat transfer vinyl where you have to keep these different rolls to do different types of designs. Now that you know what it costs to get started with both of these methods, also think about the profit potential with both of these methods. Heat transfer vinyl typically will sell for a lower cost on the back end when selling to retail consumers versus white toner transfer printing, because of its full color capabilities, can sell for a premium. That's why heat transfer vinyl is typically used for one-off designs or very small quantities, and also very simple designs such as one-color designs. T-shirts printed with heat transfer vinyl will typically sell at a little bit less of a premium than those created with two-step heat transfer process. Typically, I've seen one-color heat transfer vinyl designs sell for $15 to $20 versus a full-color t-shirt design using white toner transfer printing sell for $20 to $25. So even though it's more affordable to get started with heat transfer vinyl, don't only consider the differences in cost, but also consider the back end of what you can sell the final products for. Alright you guys, I hope you found all that information helpful. In terms of which machine is best suited for your needs, it really depends on your individual circumstance, including what type of garments you're looking to do, what your client's needs are, and what your budget is. If you're looking for quantity and scale and taking on these bulk orders, as well as doing full color vibrant designs on a variety of substrates, the white toner transfer printer is probably your best bet. But if you're on a tight budget or you're a smaller online shop such as selling on Etsy, you might consider getting a heat transfer vinyl package to get started. Just know that it will be more labor intensive because of the weeding process, and you won't be able to have as versatile of designs as full color vibrant designs on the white toner transfer printer. And remember, even though the vinyl cutters are more economical to get started with, if you're looking for an affordable payment plan using 0% financing, we also have 0% financing options on our white toner transfer packages as well as all of our other products. Alright guys, I hope you found that helpful in helping you decide which one is the best fit for your business. If you're still not sure which one to go with, make sure you talk to a product specialist here at Ricoma and we can help guide you to the right machine to suit your needs. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to quickly smash that like button. It really only takes 2 seconds and it'll greatly help out this channel, and subscribe for more content just like this. By the way, don't forget to follow all our social channels down below. We're very active on Instagram and even on TikTok for some entertaining content. And last but not least, if you haven't done so already, make sure to join our free Facebook group, Embroidery and Custom Apparel Mastery, where there's now close to 30,000 embroiderers and apparel decorators just like you who are interested in this industry and are giving tips and tricks of their experience. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.